Hey guys, welcome to the 8th Throwcast,
Yeah,
which
number 8.
which we're calling Throwcast Pty Ltd.
Because we're all professional and stuff, and I should have put on a tie.
You should have put on a tie.
Yeah.
No, we are definitely professional. I'm wearing a jacket. He's even wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Because
it's crazy.
Yeah, because I'm all
And my
about the
collar's
casual.
completely wrong. That'll do.
Style of style.
Yeah.
So
We've got that mix, right?
So this week on the Throwcast, we haven't had one in a while.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about what's happened first. So
Yeah.
GCAP has happened, and Paul, you went down.
Yeah, that was in Melbourne. That was kind of awesome. A really good conference. Yeah, there's a lot of things that recap that, and I don't feel that I can really recap that awesomeness that quickly. It was awesome. If you're in Australia, go to GCAP next year. It's cool.
Cool. That advertising aside, which we should get royalties for. We've moved on to a new developmental methodology. We were doing Scrum before, and now we're doing science!
With all caps and exclamation mark at the end. That's a very important part of the spelling.
Because it works.
Bitches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more next week when we have some results from it, because we just started that.
Yep. There is a blog post on the website, throwtheLookingGlass.com. We've actually gone through and detailed the entire methodology. This is what we're using. This is actually a snapshot directly from our forums, and we'll be updating it as we go.
Yep. And we've also moved development into Unity.
Which was for a number of reasons, mostly because we were finding to get what we wanted in XNA was taking longer than we thought it would take to re-implement Unity, which is proving to be true.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that and 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
and we'll also talk about what it's like developing in Unity.
So
So
we'll probably get a programmer in. That's the thing.
this week in our Throwcast, we are talking about incorporation.
Because we're in suits.
We are
Well,
one of us is in suits.
Yeah, okay.
One of us is all about the casual.
Yeah. So yeah, we've incorporated in the last month or so. It's almost been 3 weeks now.
And we have the certification to prove it.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Look at that. Shiny. Throw the Looking Glass Pty Ltd. Doing a Throwcast Pty Ltd. Which I don't know if we're legally allowed to say, but hey, whatever. Please don't sue us.
We have no money.
Really don't. Which is one of the things we'll talk about.
So incorporation, why would we want to do it? Paul, do you want to have
partly for professionalism. At some point you need to incorporate. You need to do it so that when you start making money, your tax works out right. It's a really good way of structuring yourself. To make sure that you and everyone in your team is that you have a solid foundation for how you're going to deal with profits, how you're going to deal with everything. It's starting out that process of getting all your legals figured out, which you really need to do. It's a really important process. Yeah.
And I was just going to say, on top of that, in terms of applications, when you're looking at grants, angel investment, VC investments, anything like that, being incorporated just gives you that perception of professionalism.
You cannot apply for grants without an ACN, which is a company number. So we could not. We've applied for IMF in the last few weeks as well. We could not have done that if we were not incorporated.
Precisely, because they don't want to give money to just a bunch of individuals.
Yeah.
They want to give money to a company which is going to produce things.
Well, you need to be accountable, and part of a company is that you are then accountable, and you have to give certain documents showing how much you've made, etc., etc.
So yeah, that's one reason we want to do it. Now we came across a couple of not issues, just a couple of thinking points whilst we were in this incorporation period, and the big ones was shares and directors.
So these are the two most important things about incorporation that you have to think about. In general, there's a lot of things you have to think about in terms of your company. What we found is that you don't have to do it all straight away. The important thing is to figure out a lot of these frameworks before your company is worth anything. For instance, Throw the Looking Glass, Pty Ltd, it's worth a total of $1 right now. It has 100 shares at a cent each. So right now, if there's any legal shit, no one can really sue anyone for anything, right?
Well, they can sue each other for 20 cents.
Yeah, and no one could be bothered doing that. So the whole point is you need your legals right before you're worth anything, not necessarily at incorporation. But the things that you want to think about at incorporation are shares and directors. So directors are the people that actually have a say, particularly in how many shares are produced. They're the ones that are responsible for the company's well-being. Shares is how is about your ownership of your company. You want to give people shares, so i.e. equity, when you for their work if you can, but you also want to make sure that you're leaving enough room, because you can always issue more shares. There's always room, but you want to make sure you're doing it in a way that you're not going to like suddenly lose too much percentage and lose like any majority votes that you might want or need.
So you have to remember in any new share release to have your old directors or old shareholders to be accounted for as well.
Well, just make sure you know where the balance of power is, right? Because if that balance of power tips, then you can have things happening, and that's where you have to have more complicated legals in place to make sure that people can't dilute other people's shareholdings.
Yes, and each company has to think about that when they do that. Now, in terms of the actual incorporation process, it's fairly straightforward.
Yes.
It's just a 201 form that you can download from the ASIC website.
So this is for Australia.
This is for Australia.
We assume it's fairly similar in other countries, but we don't know.
We have no idea, and we make no claims to knowledge of that field. But in Australia, the ASIC 201 form is incredibly simple.
Yeah.
As we said before, it's just the shares and directors which you need to think about.
And you need to actually get some contracts written up. And you can write these up yourself. They can be incredibly simple. And again, you want a lawyer to go through them later and figure out all the details, but while it's worth nothing, it's not really an issue.
And these are more for your company records. When you go to hand in your form, you don't actually have to give any of the paperwork, but you do need it for your own archives. Yeah. And that's important.
Yeah, so the 3 pieces of paper we needed were share releases, then a meeting where we elected directors, and then contracts from each of the directors saying that was okay, that they accepted being a director.
And also the buying of shares.
Yeah. So the buyout of shares has to happen first, because you can't have a shareholder meeting to elect directors until you have shareholders. It's really odd.
In any case, you can work that out for your own company. So you handed it at the ASIC offices, and in Sydney, the ASIC offices are really pretty. They're
amazing.
Incredibly nice.
Oh, I want our offices to look that pretty.
Yeah, it's more like an inspiration. You walk in there, you're like, I want my office to look like that one day.
This is what a company office should look like.
Anyways.
And then you get the shiny certificate.
Which they print out right in front of you.
And you can put it on the wall, and then you're a company. That's actually a photocopy that is going on the wall.
Yes. Blue tacked into the wall.
Yeah.
So anyways, what we've discussed today is looked at incorporation, looking at some of the issues with it, and some of the things you need to think about. If you want to find out more, we have a blog post about that at
Throwcast.com.
Throwthelookingglass.com.
She can throw everything.com.
We have our Twitter, at throwtheglass.
And you can find us on Facebook at throwtheleookingglass. We're also on Google Plus now, which I need to update with something.
Throw the Looking Glass again.
Yeah.
Until next time, thanks for watching.
So long, and thanks for all the fission.